Yo, I'm really just sitting here trying to get through the day. It is, that might sound dramatic, right? But it is January 20th, 2025. It's a holiday. It's the observation of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. May he rest in peace. I don't think that gets said enough, especially after some time has passed. So may he rest in peace. But also, it's our obligation to make sure that he's able to rest in peace, knowing that we're trying like that we're keeping a dream alive. So aside from paying attention to the inauguration today, I thought it would be appropriate to bring forth this this speech by his youngest daughter at Ebenezer Church in Atlanta. So that's what we have here today. Let me pull it up. Right? It's right here. And I don't do blind reactions. I did listen to this before because I don't, I like to do research and things like that. So that I'm not misguiding anybody and I'm coming with facts and stuff like that. I also don't think that there's enough people on YouTube that represent me and my community. There might be people that look like us, but there's a shortage of people that I believe represent me and the people that I rock with. So that's why we're here. So if you're like me, join the join, subscribe, whatever, do all of the YouTube stuff, share it, post it, whatever. But yeah, I want you guys to pay attention to this and hear this clearly.
Won't you receive Reverend Dr. Bernice A. King?
God bless you. God bless you. Hallelujah. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Hallelujah. I want to take a moment of silence for Cornelius Taylor, who was tragically killed right across the street by a bulldozer driven by an Atlanta Department of Works employee while he was clearing an encampment of our unsheltered brothers and sisters. Can we take that moment now? Amen.
All right, so I didn't want to cut off the moment of silence, right? So I waited till the end. But that's crazy in itself, and it basically just shows like where we are as a country, right? Also, to the people that like don't really be outside in Atlanta, if you're in the area where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s church is, right? And where they are right now, people leave shoes laying around, like pairs of shoes on the ground. And I was walking through a couple years ago, just walking through Atlanta, trying to figure out like, yo, what's this about? So I asked my cousin, I'm like, yo, what's up with the shoes all over the floor? And she told me, she said, this is what the population here does in order to make sure that the homeless people in Atlanta have shoes. At least the least they could do is have shoes. Um, which is incredible that people are doing that. I don't know if people are literally giving the shoes off of their feet, but they place shoes all over in order to hold these people down. I say that to say that the man that was killed by the people trying to clear out the encampment. I pulled up an article. It says friends and neighbors say that the man that was killed, Cornelius Taylor, was also nicknamed Psycho. Right? Advocates are expressing grief and outrage after a man was killed during the clearing of a homeless encampment in Atlanta. The man's name was Cornelius Taylor, according to his friends and neighbors. He also often went by the name Psycho. He stayed among the tenants along Old Wheat Street in Auburn on Auburn Avenue. the neighborhood near Ebenezer Baptist Church. The city hasn't confirmed all the details about what happened on Thursday afternoon, so that happened last week. But Atlanta police are saying that they've opened a homicide. The homicide unit has opened an investigation. But it's admirable, to say the least, for her to start her speech like that. I just want to say that this compassion and empathy and care in this speech, as there is empathy, care, and all of that other stuff in Atlanta. And if you know Atlanta, you know the population of Atlanta. You know who that is. So let's get back to her speech.
Today marks 40 years since the inception of the national holiday, and this is only the third time it has coincided with the presidential inauguration. However, this time it has become a major factor for so many people because of the notable contrast in the two men who are sharing the same space in today's news cycle and on today's Gregorian calendar. For some, today's inauguration represents the best of times, make America great again. And for others, it highlights the worst of times, set America back again. For some, today's King holiday represents a day to champion freedom, justice, and democracy. For others, it's a day to decry DEI, disavow a legacy of peace, love, and justice, and distort the meaning of King's words.
Yo, I had to stop it, right? Because she's going in right now, right? Now, I don't want to come here on one side or the other, even though I'm clearly on one side. But I just want to provide the perspective of this population, bro. Like the perspective of my people and the communities that I represent feel this way wholeheartedly. But there is an opposition to this, school of thought. And I don't just ignore it because I believe everybody's thoughts and ideas are valid. But there is truth. And we tend to stand on the side of truth as opposed to feelings. I'm not gonna say we don't stand on feelings sometimes. I think sometimes we overstate and over value the feeling part. But I don't want y'all to take what she just said very lightly. I want y'all to really pay attention to that and recognize that it does mean different things to different people. And that's not that's not it's very normal for there to be contrasting opinions and thoughts about the way things should go, but they've never been so divisive. Yeah.
But regardless of how this day shows up for you, we must remember the mission and be in pursuit of it. Now, one of the most important words in the Holy Bible is remember. It is when the children of Israel forgot that they lost ground, were set back, and became subject to ruthless leaders. Instead of focusing on the land that God had promised them, the people were afraid and complained about the obstacles and the enemies. As a result, the very thing they feared came upon them, and that generation never reached the promised land. My father and those that aligned with his leadership were faced with impossible circumstances. They dealt with recalcitrant and defiant leaders. They lacked political representation. They didn't have laws or policies in place to buttress them. Yet they didn't recoil or retreat. In spite of Bull Connor and his dogs, water hoses, and billy clubs, in spite of Governor George Wallace, who said segregation today, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever, in spite of Sheriff Jim Clark, who used violence to beat back people seeking to register to vote, in spite of Southern Dixiecrats who were determined to keep segregation legal by signing a Southern Manifesto, today's Project 2025. Despite all they faced, it was with the power of a soul force generated by love, a spiritual determination to stay focused on mission, and a belief that with God nothing is impossible, that they...
I had to stop it again, only because I want you guys to really pay attention to those parallels that she's painting between the time where Dr. Martin Luther King was out here fighting for people and what's happening now, and who the ops were then and who the ops are now. There's no it was harder back then, or it was easier back then. There's no it's y'all don't understand what we're going through. Y'all don't understand what we're going through now. It's not about that. It's about making sure that everyone understands what happened and what can happen. I think it's that simple. It's as simple as understanding what can happen and what did happen. And when people say history repeats itself, it's a valid thing, because if you understand what did happen, then you could prevent it from happening again. And that's why we're here paying attention to this stuff, because there's no way, with all of the education, all of the resources, and just all of the progress that we've made, that we could allow ourselves as a community to go backwards. So truly believe that I'm gonna start flaming a lot of y'all that are ignoring history, are ignoring the fact that, we have to take part in this political process, ignoring the fact that things happen, ignoring the fact that they're regurgitating false stuff, that they're not fact checking themselves, they're not doing research. Please believe I will be flaming you guys at a later date. But today, I just wanted to make sure that you guys got this message.
They were able to destroy de jure, by law, segregation without destroying people. They were able to get the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act signed into law. They understood that the mission was greater than any political party or governor, mayor, police commissioner, congressperson, senator, or president. It was a mission ultimately commanded by God to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with our God.
Even if you take religion out of it, it all means the same thing. It all means the same thing, just decency.
As this day unfolds, and over the next 4 years, I want you to hear me, we must remember what we faced before and how we faced it. Yes, we will hear some disturbing things. We will face some difficult days. We will come up against some monumental challenges. Our minds may become boggled with things that may be uttered. Our hearts may become heavy laden by disturbing policy decisions. Our spirits may become troubled by the manner in which people are treated. But we must remember that nothing can defeat us if we stay focused on mission.
It's a fact, y'all.
This year's theme is a divine declaration. Mission possible. Look at your neighbor and say, mission possible.
Mission possible.
Protecting freedom, justice, and democracy in the spirit of Nonviolence 365. It is a mandate for people throughout the entire world to embrace every day because they are dark, depraved, and sinister forces seeking to not only keep us deeply divided from each other, but seeking to kill, steal, and destroy our humanity.
Yo, this is like, you know, like when you listen to music and the DJ like brings it back several times. I really do want to just bring this back over and over and over, but I also want to have like some respect for your time and just let it rock out. But if you're interested in this was actually posted on the Fox 5 channel. I'm gonna put the link in the description. Um, there's only 5 more minutes to it, so I'm just gonna let the rest of it ride out so that you guys could hear the whole thing. But she's actually really going in, and she's spitting right now. So I just need y'all to really, really, really get with the program. And yo, we gotta tighten up and pay attention to all of this because this is what's happening. And this is coming from the mouth of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter, Dr. Bernice King.
Nonviolence 365 from each other, but seeking to kill, steal, and destroy our humanity. Nonviolence 365, which is Kingian nonviolence, is a love-centered way of thinking, speaking, acting, and engaging that leads to personal, cultural, and societal transformation. Too often, and I want you to really hear this, too often, people say or do things in the name of Martin Luther King Jr. But my question is, are you doing it in the spirit of Martin Luther King Jr.? My father led with a spirit of love and did and said things from a place of love. For him, love was not impotent. It was not a resignation of power. He understood that love and power conjoined harmoniously are essential to creating lasting social change. That love should guide our use of power toward justice and a better society. He said power without love is reckless and abusive, and love without power is sentimental and anemic. He went on to say that power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice, and justice at its best is power correcting everything that stands against love. So as we commemorate the King holiday and stand at the dawn of a new presidential era under Donald Trump, we find ourselves at a critical juncture in our nation's history where the very foundations of freedom, justice, and democracy that my father fought so tirelessly to build are being shaken. Therefore, I urge every one of us under the sound of my voice to say yes to the power and the strength of love. Not only that, I urge us to heed my father's timeless call to remain awake through a great revolution, for we are indeed living in revolutionary times. My father once said that one of the great liabilities of history is that too many people fail to remain awake through great periods of social change. Well, we are living in a time when anti-woke rhetoric has become a weapon to divide us and distract us from the real issues of injustice. But let me be clear, to be woke is to be aware of oppression and committed to justice. And this ain't no threat. This is not a threat to America, but a reflection of America's highest ideals. Therefore, we must not slumber through this pivotal moment in our nation and world's history. To those who would have us return to a past where injustice went unchallenged, we say we will not go back. We will not go back. We will not go back. And not only that, we will not close our eyes. We will not be silent. In the spirit of love, in the spirit of determination, we declare that we will remain woke because too much is on the line.
Yo, I'm sorry. I had to stop it because I think that there's like a communication barrier when it comes to the idea of staying awake and being woke. There's never ever ever been a time where being aware, being awake, being woke is not a good thing. Like, so you hear people saying it's a bad thing, and people try to hijack, the movement and things of that nature. But I want you guys to pay attention to the idea of being woke and how often it's being demonized against you, and recognize that it's not a bad thing to be aware and be awake and have an understanding of your circumstances.
Our health care is on the line. The equitable education of our children is on the line. Our housing affordability is on the line. Our basic civil rights protections are on the line. Our economic safety net is on the line. DEI is on the line. The learning of our true history is on the line. Our voting rights are on the line. Freedom, justice, and democracy are on the line. And the survival of our humanity is on the line. So I say to you, let us stay woke. Let us stay engaged. Let us not falter. Let us not stop. Let us not give up nor give out. We may get bruised. We may even get scars. We may face setbacks. But remember, setbacks sometimes are setups. We may suffer disappointments. But in the words of Martin Luther King Jr., we must accept finite disappointment, but never, ever lose infinite hope. Let us remember the mission, that it transcends any one administration and any one generation. For as my mother said, struggle is a never-ending process. Freedom is never really won. You earn it and you win it in every generation. Let's rise to the challenge to win it in this generation. Let us use the soul force of love to defend freedom, justice, and democracy. Let us stand up with an unwavering faith. Let us embrace the spirit of Nonviolence 365, and let us declare together the mission is possible.